Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your keen interest. We will now commence the next session. As you've all been expecting, this next session is a keynote address by another very special speaker. Let's find out who he is through a short video.
대한민국, 한강의 기적을 일궈낸 나라. 여러분의 결단력과 희생으로 단순한 재건을 넘어 역사상 가장 빠른 산업화를 이루었습니다. 작은 공방에서 시작해 대규모 공장에 이르기까지 오늘날의 한국을 만들었습니다. 철강, 반도체, 전자제품, 선박, 자동차, 그리고 기술을 통해 전 세계 가정에 한국의 이름을 알렸습니다. 사람과 사람을 연결하고 한국을 미래와 연결했습니다. 그리고 하나의 불꽃이 피어났습니다. 바로 스타크래프트. PC방이라는 새로운 경기장이 탄생했고 엔비디아 지포스는 새로운 플레이어들의 장비가 되었습니다. e스포츠는 모두의 무대가 되었고 챔피언은 국민의 염원을 안고 우승을 거머쥐었습니다. K컬처, 세계는 처음에는 호기심으로 이내 사랑에 빠졌습니다. K팝, K드라마, K뷰티, K스타일에 빠졌고 떠오르는 세대는 더욱더 높이 나아가고 있습니다. 한국의 황금기를 향해 그리고 AI 엔진, 엔비디아 GPU로 구동되는 새로운 종류의 AI 팩토리와 함께 AI 혁명이 도래했습니다. 한국은 반도체에 이어 이제는 AI 인프라를 구축하고 있습니다. 삼성, 현대, SK부터 네이버와 LG에 이르기까지 디지털 트윈, 스마트 로봇, 스마트 팩토리, 산업혁명에서 AI 혁명으로 한국은 새로운 미래를 만들어가고 있습니다. 여러분과 함께 할 수 있게 되어 영광으로 생각합니다. 기적이 계속되는 바로 이곳, 한국에서.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, up to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I do it from here?
At the center, wherever you want, actually.
Okay. Are you going to stand there? You're going to help me?
If you need my help,
Yes.
willingly.
Nice to see all of you. Nice to see all of you. Kombu chicken is very good. I enjoyed Chimek with my friends, and it is the best way to enjoy Korea. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. And first of all, congratulations on such an incredibly successful APEC. It tells you something about the ability for Korea to attract, to unite, and of course, Chairman Tony Che's incredible work to organize what is a historic APEC, and so I want to congratulate you for that. The industry, as you know, the computer industry that NVIDIA is part of is going through a fundamental transformation. And every single industry, because computers are affect and impact every single industry, it is the single most important instrument of humanity today. Every single industry is being impacted as a result of a platform shift we call artificial intelligence. Our journey started over 30 years ago to invent a new way of doing computing. The computing approach that we created and invented is called accelerated computing. We recognized years ago to create a new computing model to solve problems normal computers cannot. It has another benefit that when Moore's law runs out of steam, it could be the path forward for the computer industry. 33 years later, as we continue to be able to create more transistors with every generation of process technology, and even though transistors' performance and power benefits have slowed tremendously, we can now continue to expand computing for as far as we can see because of accelerated computing. We are now seeing a platform shift. This platform shift was the reason for creating the GPU and inventing the model we call CUDA. However, a GPU alone is just a chip. This new computing approach requires tremendous amounts of algorithm software to be developed. We call it CUDA-X libraries. Very few people talk about this, but this is NVIDIA's treasure. These libraries make it possible for us to apply accelerated computing to computational lithography, the work that we do with Samsung, or in deep learning and robotics, the work that we do with many companies here that I'll talk about. It allows us to do quantum physics, it allows us to do quantum computing, molecular dynamics, fluid dynamics, robotics, of course, artificial intelligence. These libraries open new markets for our company. These libraries are precisely the reason why NVIDIA's computing approach is now available all over the world in so many different industries. But it started from a very humble beginning. And so I made a short video for you to give you a feeling for what NVIDIA's technology can do today. It has been 33 years. In fact, I've been coming to Korea, NVIDIA came to Korea 30 years ago. We invented the video game industry together. I introduced GeForce here to Korea 25 years ago. And last night, we had a big celebration with the esports gamers and PC gamers here in Korea. It was incredibly fun to celebrate GeForce 25 years of GeForce. And so I made you a short video, but as you're watching this, remember, nothing here is animated. Everything is simulated. Everything I will show you is mathematics, computer algorithms that make it possible for us to do what I'm about to show you. Please run it.
Ready, go!
It is incredible how far technology has come. And what you saw just now is fundamentally a new computing approach. One of them is called accelerated computing, but you are also seeing artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is, of course, affecting every single industry. And most people think artificial intelligence is a chatbot, as they should. ChatGPT revolutionized artificial intelligence and put it into the hands of everybody. However, artificial intelligence is many things. And I'm going to tell you what it means to you, what it means to the industry that we're in, so that you have a feeling for how you can engage artificial intelligence. First of all, artificial intelligence is a whole new computing platform. The old way of doing software with handwritten software, hand coding, to new way of doing software where the computer learns by itself, where we train the computer, we train the model for it to perform the task we want it to perform. Artificial intelligence and AI runs on GPUs, whereas hand-coded software runs on CPUs. This entire software stack, from the needs of energy, chips, the infrastructure, all of the software associated with the systems, the AI models and the applications on top, every single layer of computing has been fundamentally changed. Just think, the computer industry has been largely the same for 60 years. And now, with AI and accelerated computing, every single layer of the computing stack is being changed. All of the computers we've created in the past, $1 trillion, maybe more, of computers needs to now be transitioned, shifted to the new computing platform. The second thing to know about AI is that although Transformers is incredibly successful and very important, there are many AI models. There's AI models for languages, but remember there's all kinds of information we want to use AI to solve. It could be AI for chemicals, proteins, physics, quantum physics, different fields of science, even AI for robotics, AI that understands the physical world. AI is quite diverse. The number of algorithms necessary to encompass all of the world's different AIs is incredibly vast. ChatGPT and chatbots is one of them. But the beautiful thing is with all these different AI models, we can therefore revolutionize many applications in many industries, which is the reason why we are seeing AI affecting literally every single industry in the world. There are no industries where intelligence is fundamentally not necessary. The observation, and this is a very important idea, that the technology of the past, software of the past, is a tool that humans use. Excel is a tool, web browsers are tools, PowerPoints are tools, these are very important tools, but these are tools used by humans. It's no different than a car that is used by humans, it's no different than screwdrivers and hammers that are tools used by humans. But AI is work. AI performs work, which is the reason why everybody realized that AI has the ability to address the largest technology industry in history. The tools industry, the IT industry we know of the past, is a few $1 trillion. The AI industry AI can address $100 trillion of the world's industries, make it more productive, help the GDP grow. And then one more idea. Artificial intelligence, unlike software, artificial intelligence needs a factory. This is the first technology that transforms energy and on a continuous basis, applying a computers that NVIDIA builds, these GPU AI supercomputers, to generate intelligence for everybody to use. Each single token is generated based on the context of the time and based on the questions that you have for the AI. What that means is the world is going to have enormous number of these AI factories. And because AI is going to be integrated into every single application, into every industry, AI infrastructure will be built by every single country. Just like electricity, just like internet, and now artificial intelligence, AI factories will be built all over the world. It is one of the reasons why this is so consequential to every single country. It is the reason why it is so consequential to the conversation we're having today. AI is an industrial revolution. It changes the computing software stack. The software is work, not tools. It addresses extremely large industries, and it requires factories. Well, in the last couple of years, we've seen extraordinary progress, and this is the system that makes it possible. This is the latest NVIDIA system called Grace Blackwell. This is one giant GPU. It weighs 2 tons, has 1.5 million parts. It consumes 120,000 watts, 120 kilowatts, and it produces tokens or produces intelligence at an incredible speed. This is what a GPU looks like today. People think that NVIDIA GPUs are like a gaming GPU, but these GPUs are really massive. Entire supercomputers in a rack. Probably the question that most people ask me is, what changed this year? You might have seen that although AI has been growing quickly, NVIDIA has been growing quickly, but in the last 6 months, it seems the growth has really accelerated quite substantially. There's a reason for that. In the last couple of years, AI has made tremendous progress because we can now reason and think and solve problems that we have never been trained before to solve. AI now has what is called 3 scaling laws. We teach it like a child to memorize information. We also teach it, called post-training, how to perform new skills, how to reason and how to think. And then during inference time, the AIs today don't just respond with memorized answers, but it responds by thinking first. The quality of the answers has improved tremendously in this last year. As a result, more people are using it because the answers are better. You can use it to solve more problems. When the answers are better, more people use it. When more people use it, the amount of computation necessary continues to grow. So the way you teach an AI, the computation is quite substantial. The way you use an AI today, the amount of computation is quite substantial. But the important thing is this. Because these tokens, these intelligence that are being produced are so good now, customers are paying for it. The tokens have become profitable tokens. This year, AI became profitable. And when something becomes profitable, you want to manufacture more of it. Just like when you're manufacturing chips and wafers and DRAM, if the manufacturing of those chips were profitable, you want to build more factories to create more chips. Now that the AI is profitable, we want to create more factories to generate more AI. We have now achieved what is called the virtuous cycle. The AIs get better, more people use it, makes more profit, create more factories, which allows us to create even better AIs, which allows more people to use it. The virtuous cycle of AI has arrived. And this is the reason why you're seeing the world's CapEx going so fast. There are 2 fundamental things that are happening. The first is a transition, as I mentioned, from general purpose computing to accelerated computing. Moore's law has really run out of steam, so we need another way of doing computation. NVIDIA's accelerated computing is the foundation layer for that. On top of accelerated computing, AI has now achieved the virtuous cycle, which is the reason why all of a sudden we're seeing the amount of CapEx that companies are building is growing so substantially. This is going to happen here in Korea as well. Well, the reason why I think this is such an extraordinary time for Korea is, of course, during a platform transition, it's vital to any technology industry, it's vital to any industrial nation. However, for Korea, this is an extraordinary opportunity because in very few countries in the world do you have 3 fundamental, essential, necessary qualities in order to succeed. The first is you need software. Software expertise is one of those skills that Korea has abundance of. deep technical and science capability, and third, manufacturing capability. When you combine software and AI, technology, and manufacturing, you have the opportunity to really take advantage of robotics. This is the next generation of physical AI. And you can see NVIDIA working in the robotics field all over the place. This is humanoid robotics that we're doing with Figure. This is the work that we're doing with Caterpillar, turning themselves into a robotics industrial company. This is agility, logistics robots. This is Johnson & Johnson, surgical robots. But the technology has now reached a level where we are starting to see robotic systems all over the place. We're also seeing entire factories become robots. This is a factory that NVIDIA is building in the United States for our own AI supercomputers. And we're working with technology companies throughout the world in order to create a robotic factory. The entire factory is a giant robot. And inside this robotic factory, it will orchestrate robots that are working together with humans, with all of us, and they're going to produce products like self-driving cars that are robots. So robots orchestrating robots, building products that are robotic. This is the future of artificial intelligence. And I think that this is an area that is just so incredible for Korea because you have all of the capabilities. You have the deep technical capabilities, you have software capability and artificial intelligence capability, and you also have such an incredible manufacturing base, industrial base. Well, this week, we're announcing several really terrific partnerships, extension of our partnerships. I've been working here for so many years. We have so many different friends. Naver, for example, was one of our earliest partners, and they partnered with us to create the world's third large language model. And that large language model was Korean. And they were one of the first customers of ours in building a supercomputer here in Korea. This week we announced that Naver NVIDIA will expand our GPU infrastructure here in Korea by 60,000 GPUs. We're working with Samsung in manufacturing, of course. They are the first partner NVIDIA had in building memory technology to help me invent the AI supercomputer that is now powering the world's AI. We manufacture HBMs here. We, of course, partner with Samsung on manufacturing chips. But now we're going to advance AI together, build AI factory together, build digital twins for their factories together, expansion of our partnership tremendously, and we're going to build 50,000 GPU AI factories with Samsung. Working with SK, at the SK Group, of course, with HBM memory, but also in creating digital twins of their factories, and we're going to build 50,000 GPU AI factories with SK Group for their AI factories. And then Hyundai, we partner with them to build autonomous vehicles, but their factory will become digital twins, and inside these factories will become robotic factories, orchestrating robots, building cars that are robotic. And they're building 50,000 GPUs for their AI factory. Total, this week we announced that we will build 250,000 more GPUs here in Korea, making Korea one of the largest GPU or AI infrastructure countries in the world. And then finally, it's really vital that we build the ecosystem, not just the AI infrastructure of Korea, but the ecosystem of Korea, so that we partner with AI researchers here with Korea universities, amazing universities like KAIST, all the startups that are here, to create an environment necessary for them to benefit from AI, so that there's a rich ecosystem of AI startups here. Working with the government, working with education, working with the established companies. This is an extraordinary time. I want to thank all of you for welcoming NVIDIA with open arms over the last 30 years. This is the beginning of a new journey. You were part of my journey as we were building NVIDIA. I am honored and grateful that we're going to be part of your journey as Korea now becomes an AI nation and you pursue your endeavors to be part of the AI frontier. Thank you very much.
Let us extend our deepest appreciation to Mr. Jensen Huang of NVIDIA for the invaluable insights and perspectives shared with us today.
Nice to see all of you. It's been quite a long week for all of you.
Yes.
All right, how can I help?
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a question.
I'll start here. I'll get to everyone.
Thank you so much. My question is, will you continue to lobby President Trump to sell the Blackwell chip in China?
Well, I think it's really good for the United States and for China that NVIDIA could bring AI technology to China for many reasons. One reason, of course, is that the China market is large and it's a vibrant market with a lot of developers. And those developers create AI technology that's exported from China all over the world. And so to the extent that American tech stack can run and operate those AI models, it's good for the United States around the world.
So would you want the Blackwell to be sold in China?
I hope so. But that's a decision for President Trump to make.
Well, based on the national security community's response, which was quite hostile after President Trump had floated the idea, what do you think the chances are that it actually will be approved for China?
Well, that's the concern about exporting technology to China, of course, and that's understandable. However, remember, China makes plenty of AI chips themselves, and the Chinese military surely have plenty of access to chips that are created in China. And so whatever national security concerns have to take into consideration the fact that China has blocked H20. And so, in a lot of ways, China is saying that, listen, we have plenty of AI technology ourselves. And so the national security concern from that perspective, I think, is really answered by the fact that China doesn't want H20 or any American chips.
What do you think of the current market situation? Don't you think an air bubble?
There's several ways to look at it. The first thing is the computer industry is going through two platform transitions, not one. One platform transition is going from general purpose computing to accelerated computing. And that is the great invention of our company. We were able to create a new computing model that after Moore's Law has run out of steam, the world can move towards. All of the applications don't even have to be AI. It's like data processing and recommender systems and search, and many of those applications today can now benefit from accelerated computing. On top of accelerated computing, because of the performance, we created a whole new application called AI. And this AI technology is very consequential, it is very impactful for every single industry, and that is probably the best way to think about the moment at this time is the technology has now evolved to be quite useful. When AI first came out, the results were quite curious and was very interesting, but not very useful. In the last couple of years, because of reasoning and agentic AI models, the AI models have now become very useful and producing answers that are very, very useful for people, for consumer users, as well as for companies, to the point where AI is now profitable. When AI is profitable, people want to produce more AI. That's the reason why capital investment is going up. And then let me just make one more observation, and that is, during the bubble time of 2000, most of the internet fiber was dark. But today, NVIDIA GPUs are used all over the world, so the consumption is quite high. I think we're really in the beginning. The best way to think about this, our phase right now, is that we're in the beginning of a 10-year build-out of a new computing platform, from the old approach to the new approach. And so I think it's going to be many years of quite exciting growth.
We're becoming the first ever $5 trillion company, given the exuberance of our artificial intelligence. But as a CEO of the company, does that give you a little bit of a pause, or do you think that reflects fundamentals? And how big of a risk is it that you're still shut out of the Chinese market?
Well, it took 30 years for us to do this, and we have invented a new computing approach.
As you know, the computer has remained largely the same for 60 years since the invention of the IBM system in 360. And after 60 years, we reinvented the computer. And now we're going through these platform shifts, and AI is the most impactful technology that anyone has ever known. It is fundamentally about generating intelligence. The impact is quite extraordinary to every single industry. So I'm proud of the fact that we've reinvented computing. I'm proud of the fact that we're part of a technology revolution that is impacting every field of science and every industry. And it will be impactful for every single country, including Korea, which is the reason why we're here and why President Lee and all of my CEO friends and companies, the giant companies here in Korea, have announced big partnerships and we're going to launch new AI infrastructure into Korea. So I'm quite pleased about that, and I'm proud of the fact that NVIDIA is at the epicenter.
What's the potential of sovereign programs that you mentioned, especially across Asia?
Well, that's here in Korea. Korea has a chance to be one of the world's major AI hubs, and today's announcement, along with President Lee's passion, enthusiasm, and drive, and all of my CEO friends here who are dedicated to create this journey for Korea. This is a perfect example of sovereign AI.
We just saw you have a conversation with SK Group's Chae-tae-won. SK Group and Samsung in that rivalry right now, but you're getting business with both companies. What's the potential there?
Well, they're both friends of mine, and they're friendly competitors. Of course, competition is terrific, and Korea is going to be growing tremendously in semiconductors in the coming years. And the reason for that, as you know, Samsung and SK helped me invent the AI supercomputer. Without the HBM memory, there is no AI supercomputer. And so I'll come back to you, I promise you. And they helped me invent the AI supercomputer. And over the next decade, memory technology and semiconductor growth here in Korea will be very significant. With respect to China, China is now 0% of our business. We used to have 95% share of the AI business in China. Now we're at 0% share. And I'm disappointed by that. And I hope that that condition will change. But irrespective, NVIDIA is going to grow quite substantially over the next 7 years.
Yes, ma'am. One is out of ordinary.
I grew up in Thailand.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, super good.
Okay, thank you.
I went to Rudy.
Okay, yes. Okay. All right. The extraordinary question. What do you think about does NVIDIA have any contingency plan if anything happens with the AI technology in the world currently happening?
Advancing AI, the first thing we have to do is advance AI safety. Although we don't talk about it a lot, the industry is creating an enormous amount of safety in AI technology and cybersecurity in AI technology, guardrail technology, grounding AI so that the AI could be truth-seeking and make sure that the content that is generated is truthful. There's a great deal of AI technology associated with safety and security. So my colleagues are very serious on
Okay. So NVIDIA has announced a deal with OpenAI. Now they will the country's being very China. So are there any plans to play additional units of other companies in South Korea or government? Are there any plans to have more countries come up in South Korea?
There are 60,000 GPUs in Korea today. In the next year, we will deploy another 250,000 from just Samsung, SK, Hyundai, Neighbor, and the Korean government. And so Just 5 teams will deploy another 260,000. That's very significant. After that, there's no question in my mind that Korea will build many more AI factories here. Not just for the Korean industry, which is one of the largest economies in the world and one of the largest technology industries in the world, but also because Korea has a chance to be an AI hub of the region. And it has the ability to attract startups that are in other countries to be hosted on Korea AI Cloud. It also has the opportunity to attract companies to invest here. You know, if you want to be an AI company, you need to have AI infrastructure. If Korea has AI infrastructure, you can attract the investment from many startups. So I'm very optimistic about the future of AI in Korea.
Talk about the boundary cooperation unusual ways like the TSMC.
No, hedging isn't really the right way to think about it. We have partners that are excel at the areas of manufacturing semiconductors. It is not, as you know, I make chips. There are many companies that make chips, and we make chips in different ways for different reasons and different value propositions, if you will. And so it's the same with Samsung. And, you know, they're deep and excellent in their field of semiconductors. Whenever we have opportunities where our products are perfect fit for the way that they manufacture chips, we find opportunities to work together. Today, Samsung manufactures all of NVIDIA's robotics processors.
Mr. She's already had
Oh, okay. I'll come back.
Sorry, she's had 3 questions.
That was my fault.
Right, BBC News, thank you for talking to me.
I've got all night, you guys.
Will these new announcements?
I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm a little tired. Yeah.
Will these new announcements make up for the shortfall with the Chinese market?
That's really the best way to think about it is that China is a very large market. It's very important. The developers really dynamic. The vast majority of the world's building towards AI is developed in China. Whether it's developed in China, EU, DC, so on and so forth. There's so many AI research in China. They do amazing work, and they do it in an open source way. And so the China market is just simply unique. It's important for all of the reasons that I mentioned. And so there's no replacing it.
But is it justified that you're being locked out of the market because of the U.S.-China relationship?
I hope that we will be able to go back. I'll keep explaining the reasons why it's important for American companies to be able to participate in the China market. And I'll keep being optimistic that China will want American companies to be able to. China wants a region, a market where people can invest and where people can build businesses. They love companies. I'll continue to be optimistic about this and hope that this will work out.
Is NVIDIA suffering because you've not got access to the Chinese market? Is NVIDIA suffering because you've not got access to the Chinese market?
If the definition of suffering means that we're not in China's market, obviously, the $5 trillion company from that perspective, obviously, it's just fine. But that's not the way to think about it. Whether we suffer or not, the way to think about the China market is it's a singular, vital, important market. And it's in the best interest of America to serve that China market. It's the best interest of China to have a great technologies for the China market. It's in the best interest of both countries. And I hope that policymakers will ultimately
Will you consider working with Korean companies to manufacture your latest GPUs under white circumstances? And are you planning to visit Taiwan with TSMC Sports Day?
The sports day?
Yeah.
When's the sports day?
Next week.
Really?
So you don't know?
Really? That's next week? Okay, well, let's see where I'm going to be next week. However, there are a lot of considerations when choosing a foundry for manufacturing the chips. Most of the considerations are related to whether the foundry's technology and the technology we need are perfectly aligned. It's not good or bad. It's just simply a decision. The chips that we make are very different than mobile devices, very different than PCs. And so it just depends on where the opportunities are, where the foundries decide to focus their process technology. And then second, a lot of it has to do with timing. You know, the process technology is advancing, our chips are advancing. Sometimes the roadmaps just don't enough. It takes a lot of good fortune, good timing, and good alignment. There's a lot of factors involved.
Just one more question over here.
Yeah. Can I take one over here? I'll be right back.
Could you share your hopes for views on the recent trade deals between countries?
Which two countries?
U.S. and South Korea has made trade deals, but there's remaining uncertainty about semiconductor tariffs that could affect NVIDIA's business.
You know, I'm not in politics or geopolitics, and we lead companies. The most important thing for companies is stability, whatever the conditions are. As you know, long before NVIDIA was founded, Earth had gravity, and we made it work for us. And every country has taxes, we make it work for us. And the cost of living is different in every single country, and we make it work for us. I think that whatever the tariffs are, so long as they're stable for some time, we'll make it work. And I am very confident that the Korean companies are going to be quite agile, and we'll find a way to thrive again in the, whatever decisions are made about tariffs. We'll continue to thrive. Okay?
There's any AI due diligence cooperation with LG Korea, and Chairman Lee Jae-yong and Chairman Jong-il last night. What did you talk about with them? Can you tell me any questions?
Last night, it was supposed to be Jay, Isan, and Tony and I having fried chicken. And the reason I just really love Korean fried chicken, he doesn't love Korean fried chicken. It's K-pop and it's KFC. And so last night was the first night I've been back for many years. And so I was hoping that the four of us would go on. But Tony had a job here because he's very busy. He's the chairman of APEC, and so he could not join us last night. Mostly, we spoke about fried chicken. Yeah. And then we spoke about, they introduced me to
How many did you eat?
I had quite a few. That's why I'm a little slow today. But we did that, and we spoke to the other guests, and we spoke to a lot of people who are outside. And we spoke to the restaurant owners. That's what we spoke about.
I thought you were closer to Samsung because Tony wasn't there.
No, all of us were hoping to.
Jensen, Japanese market cap just surpassed $5 trillion recently. What do you think is mainly driving the milestone, and do you see it as sustainable?
First of all, I'm grateful that the company is valued so much. But the reason for that is because we invented a new computing approach that is the future of computing. And as you know, computing and computers is the single most important instrument of humanity today. It is important to all the people, it's important to every single industry, it's important to every single nation. And the fact that we reinvented computers for the first time in 60 years, it's quite an extraordinary thing. And so that is driving fundamentally our growth. The second is, of course, on top of that, we invented a way of computing that made AI possible. And intelligence is the most valuable commodity in the world. It's the thing we treasure most. We can now manufacture intelligence for many industries. And we see every day for chatbots, of course, but in the future we'll see intelligence for manufacturing and robotics and self-driving cars and science and digital biology and even quantum chemistry and quantum computing, 6G telecommunications. All of that will have AI technology that integrates it. So the future opportunity for us is really quite extraordinary, quite enormous. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
한국 정부의 정책이나 And then I was wondering about how you would evaluate AI policy
The AI policies for the Korean government is really important. And the reason for that is because AI requires energy, it requires land, and it requires the ability to construct factories. And all of that has benefits from governments that are very supportive of AI. And President Lee is incredibly supportive of AI. He understands all of these issues. And he wants Korea to be one of the world's leading AI hubs. In fact, his hope is that his dream is that Korea is the world's leading AI hub only behind the United States and China. And so that's a very ambitious goal. And there's no reason why Korea cannot achieve it. You have the technology, you have the software expertise, and you also have a natural ability to build manufacturing plants. Industrialization is really a core strength of Korea. And so I think this is just a fantastic opportunity, once in a generation opportunity for Korea. And there's no question that the leaders that I was with today and President Lee is 100% behind it. With respect to HBM4, as you know, we have very valued partners, and there's no reason to choose between my valued partners. I'm really hoping that they will all succeed and that we will all become very large. I hope that I'm going to be a gigantic customer for both of them for many years.
Don't you gain with price competitiveness though if you have both of them?
No, they treat me very well, and both companies have been long-term friends of mine, and they treat me very fairly.
Jensen, you mentioned that the Chinese government blocked the H20. Yeah. So wait, hold on. So what can I ask you questions? Okay. You want to over?
We spoke about all of that. We spoke about Korea building sovereign AI, Korea building AI infrastructure. We announced today that Korea will build 250,000 most advanced GPU AI factories here in the very near future. A brand new initiative that was just announced today. 250,000 GPUs is a very large number. It will be used for everything from training and creating Korea's sovereign AI, building Korea's AI startup ecosystem, supporting science and research here in Korea, of course, the government, and then all the industries, everything from healthcare to automobiles to digital twins of factories and building chips and building ships. Every single industry will be impacted. And so that was the second. And of course you saw the big project that I announced with Samsung and SK and NVIDIA and Neighbor, and not to mention the Korean government was one of the first governments, literally the first government, to invest in 50,000 GPUs for the Korean government. And so that's a very big initiative. Really honored to be part of building AI.
So now that you're looking at Samsung as SKhainics when it comes to high bandwidth memory chips, would that bring down prices? Is that a better margin story for NVIDIA?
we're going to be growing so fast. It's really rare that a company as large as NVIDIA has grown and grows is such incredible rates and scale. And so the opportunity for all of us is really quite significant. It's going to take the partnership of all of the makerspace moving forward really to support our growth. And so I'm grateful for everything they've done to build capacity necessary for our growth. They're probably going to do incredibly well.
You mentioned the Chinese startup. You mentioned the Chinese.
I'm going to take one more, right?
Yes.
And then I'm going to
So we'll move to live.
It's okay.
President Trump was actually looking for it when he was speaking right here. Did you talk to President Trump this week about your Korea agenda, expressing your perhaps disappointment over what you didn't get from the U.S. and China bilateral?
I tried to get to Korea as fast as I could, but I happened to be in Washington, D.C. for a major event, our largest conference in Washington, D.C. And so as fast as I could get back to Korea to support him, unfortunately, he was already finished. He knows, he knew everything that I was going to announce. And we're all really proud of the announcement and really pleased that we're investing so much in urban technology and we're going to make such large investments here in Korea. And so President Lee was very supportive, President Trump was very supportive. I'm delighted by the success of the summit that they had between President Trump and President Xi. Just from reading like everybody else, it sounded like it was a huge success. I don't know what they spoke about or did speak about, and I'm looking forward to learning more over time.
You mentioned that the Chinese government blocked the H20. What do you think the real market opportunity is for NVIDIA in China, given that the Chinese government has been signaling that it wants Chinese companies to buy Chinese chips?
That's understandable. Every country should want their companies to succeed. And China has really extraordinary companies. Their entrepreneurial spirit, their technology speed, their innovation speed, their work ethic, and of course you can't overstate the incredible might of China manufacturing. And so I think the Chinese companies are formidable, and they have every right to be formidable, and China has every right to want their companies to succeed.
Right, but what role would you have in there? How competitive is the B-38, for example?
I was about to answer your question, how big of a market opportunity it is. I would say it's probably $50 billion this year. It's probably, call it a couple of $100 billion by the end of the decade. China is the world's second largest computer market. It is vibrant, it is growing, it is extremely modern, and it's also very competitive.
How competitive is the B-38 though?
If we want to succeed in China, we just have to be extraordinarily competitive. But I think we're putting the, if you will, the cart before the horse. I think ultimately, the U.S. government and the Chinese government have to decide what role they would like NVIDIA to play. And I think that I've been very clear that having NVIDIA technology in China is in the best interest of the United States and in the best interest of China as well. And I hope that, I'm optimistic, and I hope that the right answers will emerge.
NVIDIA has
So I've got a question about your investment in the U.S. I know that you recently created TSMC in Arizona factory. So I just wonder how many proportions of your advanced chips to be produced in the U.S.
TSMC invested in manufacturing in the United States. TSMC really today, because of that investment, has become a global company. Not just a TSMC, of course, is an incredible company, largely in Taiwan. Because of Arizona, TSMC is an incredible company that is now a global company. I think that's terrific. It's a real transformation of TSMC's posture, and it provides customers like yourselves diversity and resilience in manufacturing. I deeply appreciate that there is support of NVIDIA in manufacturing in the United States. It's very important to NVIDIA that we have the ability to manufacture critical technology in the United States. so I appreciate TSMC, I appreciate all of our partners from Steel and Amcor and Foxconn and Woodstar and many others who are going to help us build entire systems in the United States.
Consider your announced that their HBM supply for next year is already sold out. Does this indicate that price negotiation with NVIDIA for HBM will be finalized?
I'm actually not sure the answer. But the thing I am sure is that NVIDIA and SK and Samsung and all of our suppliers and supply chain partners have been working together for 30 years. And somehow, we always find a way to do good business together. And I have every confidence that we will do very successful business together. The thing that you said that is most important is the growth is so incredible. The growth is so incredible. Even with all of the expanded HBM supply, we are going to be quite challenged still. So the growth that we are seeing in all this with this business is growing faster. It's growing faster by the month. And so I appreciate our partners working hard to keep up with that.
Sorry,
how big will your China business and your China sales be with the export restrictions or without the export restrictions?
Well, NVIDIA had 95% of the China market. Today we have 0%. At the beginning of the Biden administration, we had 95%. And the policies of that administration really caused us to lose practically the entire China market. I would guess that China is probably something like, $35 to $50 billion a year to us if we were fully in that market today. And by the end of the decade, it's probably well over $100 billion. It's quite substantial, but at the moment it's zero. We're forecasting zero. We're expecting zero. We're hoping for non-zero, but we're expecting zero. And we'll do our best and continue to grow the company. Of course, around the world, the opportunity is really quite substantial. We're going through a platform shift from the old way of doing computing to this new way, NVIDIA's way of doing accelerated computing and AI. We're in the beginning of the decade journey of building out this infrastructure. I think it's going to be really a lot of growth with or without China. But the China market is very special. We don't take it for granted. And it would be really helpful that we're in.
When do you expect the chips to be delivered to Korea?
The critical path for chips in Korea is actually building the factories, the data centers. And so we need power generation in the data centers. As soon as those data centers are built, I'll make sure chips get here as fast as possible.
Dearest Marisha, what are you made in Taiwan next week?
I don't know about CEO next week, but every time I go to Taiwan, he's the first person I see.
Mr. Huang, one question, please.
Yeah, Morris and Sophie is always the first stop, and I always need to see.
What's your message for the people in South Korea who admires you and your company's vision?
Well, I'm grateful for the friendship. Korea has welcomed me for 30 years of open arms. And NVIDIA was very young when I first came. We were only 30 years old. We were probably, $100 million company. And Korea was very lucky and welcoming. It was also quite incredible that Korea invented a whole new genre of sport. And because NVIDIA's G-Force is so important to this sport, we became, if you will, the gear of choice of Korea. And a whole generation of young people grew up on NVIDIA. And so we had a very long relationship and one that I really grateful. And now we have a new journey. In the beginning it was Korea growing with NVIDIA's journey. Now it's NVIDIA growing with Korea's journey and the journey of AI. So I'm very grateful. I'll take this question.
Thank you very much. Aside from creating
come see NVIDIA. We're in California, and we have many Thai employees in our company, and so okay, I'll take one more question. Who's going to take it? Hang on a second. The last question is very important, right? Who is going to ask a good question to be the last question? Is this the last? Okay, everyone is going to hear her question. Let's hear her question. We can decide whether it's a good last question. Are you sure? Her last question. Are you sure? I think we're still working on it. NVIDIA Taiwan, we have a lot of employees there, and our office space is not enough. And so we selected a very beautiful site to put NVIDIA Taiwan. And I think they're still discussing between the local government and the landowner. I don't know what the latest status is, but I do know this. All of the people in Taipei really would like NVIDIA to be in Taipei. But if we cannot find anywhere in Taipei, I have to put it somewhere. So I hope I can put it in Taipei. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.